Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Well, I wasn't planning on doing this, my AKAPADers. Good thing I got some cold coffee. You know, it's a busy morning when your boy here, AKAPAD, the film buff, coming to you from Philadelphia, PA. You know, it's a morning when my coffee goes cold. Here's the wild thing. I was expecting to talk to all of you tomorrow night. I was just going to watch Stranger Things, drop an episode, just do the reaction. I feel like the time I spent with this show, with this series, even with these creators, I feel like I owe it to it, because a lot of the origin of this podcast, right? Like, we've been there through every single season of Stranger Things, and I believe we spoke about season 2, and it might have been season 4, and then we're kind of heavy on season 5. I didn't do a season by season commentary, and there's reasons for that. Because, well, at one point it was, well, it's not exactly a movie, so a part of the identity of what we do here at the Film Buff Podcast, we had to turn the corner and basically realize that these streaming shows, true long form storytelling, high end Hollywood production all the way through, the best of the best are hired, the best of the best execute. You guys get the drift. So recently, there's nothing but drama right now when it comes to Stranger Things Season 5 Part 2, or the second drop, which is, let's just say, the character Will came out as gay. It's I believe it's a 12-minute scene, maybe a 12-minute scene, a 10-minute scene. I saw some info, a couple memes, you know, those info memes that some of the movie accounts circulate, that the scene took 12 hours to shoot and 12 hours to reshoot, I believe, or might have been 12 and 10. But either way, 12 seems to be the magic number for Will's coming out scene. And what we have now, we kind of have a couple real observations. I know a lot of you don't follow everything that happens on TikTok, YouTube, the internet, and so forth. But we kind of got this rekindling of the culture war. And what is the culture war exactly? The culture war is a pushback on progressive ideology getting into American culture, top down, in movies, cartoons, animated films, dramas, comedies, so on and so forth, to where some of the progressive ideology, which would be DEI, like inclusion, equity, diversity, right? I think I butchered that. LBGTQ, XYZ, right? I know they add letters to that. I'm not fully up to date on all of it. So some of what comes out of that is movies like Red, the Pixar movie that we actually liked a lot. We have I keep forgetting if I did a review on it or more exactly released a review. There was a movie called The Hunt, where it was like, oh, it's liberals hunting Republican progressives for Trump, and they're hunting them down in woods. But that was a good movie. There's another movie called Civil War that I felt like was one of the best movies of the year. They're saying, you know, like, that's progressive, and that's, you know, like that paints Republicans and conservatives in a certain light. But here's the reality. And I don't think you get some of this perspective when we add the culture word to Stranger Things now, because that this is all everyone can talk about on the eve of the biggest home release we've had in our lifetime, the biggest home release ever. I mean, next to the final episodes of Seinfeld, Friends, MASH, Cheers, we have this. But we spoke about this before. Stranger Things will return. Something as big as Stranger Things will come about. It could be Emily in Paris. I know I know I keep harping on it. But other things are going to come and inspire and dig around into the culture, and you're going to buy some Oreos, and it's going to be themed after that, whatever it may be. Star Wars could return, redo it. The Marvel Cinematic Universe could return. The DC stuff could do it. Stranger Things could return and do it. So what's the position here? The culture war, and I just want to say this real quick when it comes to this larger point. The culture war observation for Stranger Things, this is where it's real, and this is what needs to be considered. I can go into my grocery store, and I'm not joking. There's Stranger Things, Chips Ahoy, Eggo waffles. There's Gatorade themed with the Stranger Things on it. So like all of these brightly colored food products, and you might be like, well, Eggo waffles aren't brightly colored. Well, there are pink editions. There are strawberry Stranger Things pink editions. But Stranger Things is plastered everywhere. You go to Target, they have all of the shirts, and we can go to Primark now and get Hawkins school jackets, and we can get Hellfire Club shirts, and there's retailers that are incentivized for that pay into the attention and success of Stranger Things. And we might say it's a family entertainment, given its high violence. So there are some people that are making this argument that Stranger Things is meant for children, and this type of coming out, should not be included. And we've seen a little bit of an infection, and I'm just using that a little bit as a platitude. We've seen this bleed and spread in entertainment, high and low, in video games, children's programming, in movies, Oscar-winning, like all this stuff. So there's a little bit of an argument that this should be kept away from children. I do agree with that. I believe that things happen in the household should end in the household, and that household makes the decisions. The household is your true school. I know we all go to school, we all go to public school during the day, but the stuff you really learn is at home. And it doesn't even goes with deep psychological stuff, guys. But here's the thing. People will tell you Stranger Things is meant for children. It's not. Stranger Things is horror. To me, it was always R-rated adult horror. And there's a weird blurry line, because in the first couple seasons within this horror, and as violent as the imagery is now, when people fight the Demogorgons, so on and so forth, the show does not hold back. Putting kids in danger in a horror-like atmosphere or environment, it does a couple things, right? Because it's like, wow, like there's kids involved, but kids want to watch other kids, right? Like this is why so many superheroes, right, are have teenage alter egos. So we have to say that. And the other large point, and this is just to be fair, Will coming out, like flat out coming out, was a plot thread that had to get tied up, guys. And in a lot of ways, from a storytelling perspective, from my perspective, I think it worked, because Will has shed himself. Will has set himself free. And now he's free to sacrifice as much of himself as possible for the friends that love him. Will, we saw it earlier, he's now the emotional anchor of the show, not 11. And so now what we get, though, because of this coming out scene, I mean, AKAPADers. There's some hilarious memes. It's just funny. There's AI videos that are redoing the dialogue. It's just funny. As funny as the memes with the Maxine before she goes through the portal. She has like this Oprah episode with Holly, and people are like, just run through the portal. Just do. But there's like memes about that. So, like, to be fair, there's a little bit of a mining of this stuff that doesn't quite click sometimes, doesn't quite make sense, or maybe like in the moment as a viewer, you're like, WTF. That's what becomes the meme. As much as there's a pushback and post commentary on the Will confession, there's another side of this world. There's another side of the internet that is cheering for this, that's all for it, and in their worldview, they're holding it up as important. I think the only problem with the scene, just like thinking about it, is it was a little bit too obvious. It went on for a little bit too long, and maybe some of the timing of it. And that's kind of where there's some confusion just from a storytelling perspective, because he's drama dumping on everyone about to risk their lives, maybe do the impossible, fight a infinite evil, hoping to win, and if they don't win, they die. So like there's a little bit of a like toggling of that, but I will say, if they didn't reveal it, if Will never came out, let's just say he never came out in season 5, and I know a lot of you believe, and there's commentary on Will already coming out, or like we all already knew Will was gay, maybe. But if the show didn't cross this bridge, it would be another plot thread that would infinitely fuel speculation, commentary, YouTube videos, and TikToks. People would say they had all of this time to bring Will out of the closet, and they spent all of this time setting it up, and they didn't do it. Like, that's what you would hear. So they spend 10 minutes. I mean, we're approaching. So, and here's the larger idea here, guys. We're approaching the final episode. We have very little plot threads to tie up. So this is, from a storytelling perspective, this is what even Mad Men, because like that one kind of upset me. I got to rewatch it. But even with Sopranos, even with Game of Thrones, we see it. We saw it with Seinfeld. We saw it with Lost. Tying things up at the end is difficult. It's one of the hardest things to do in this style of entertainment, or this form of entertainment. But with that said, we're always in it to see if they pull it off. And what do they have to do now? People have inaccurately described this season 5 part 2 for what it is. And here's what this season is. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit here, guys. They spent about 3 hours explaining to you how everything works for the giant action sequence that's about to happen. Imagine 3 hours going into, well, we kind of got that with Rogue One. Just imagine 3 hours explaining how we got here to blow up the Death Star, right? Like that's what they did in the flow of the entire show, in the flow of the series. And what they've done along the way is the way that they retcon Vecna as one of the all-time villains in fiction. Like, Vecna is, I mean, I will be a little bit upset if Vecna dies. Because he's so good. But you hate him. So they've done the impossible with seasons 4 and 5. Is that how they explained the Upside Down? They explained how they were built. They add significance to a lot of scenes and moments in seasons 1 and seasons 2. I think they've done the job of storytellers here. But it really comes down to I think it's going to come down to the lasting legacy of this gay scene. This coming out scene. I really do. And both sides of it, though, have positions. I view Stranger Things, let's just say Stranger Things season 5 as rated R. I just do. I get it. They have a Chips Ahoy upside down cookie available right now at your grocery store. It's too violent not to be rated R. So game on. So that argument, I think, dissolves. But it must be said that we know children will watch this show. We will watch the show because it's a high school show. All the kids are in high school. I know it's harder to believe now because everyone looks like a adult. Suspension of disbelief, guys. Be a good audience member when it comes to that part. But at the same time, you know, I think it's responsible storytelling, where there's nothing else to be said about this now when we watch the show. So we can watch the show from the beginning and we know a little bit more about the character. It will recontextualize some parts of the show. So those are my 2 cents, AKAPADers, going into the Stranger Things final. I love you. Film buff here. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.